Kari Lake files her notice of appeal. She says she's got new evidence and that this fight continues. She made the announcement with this reporter. We're going to listen to what she had to say. Kari Lake gives us an update. Here she is speaking with Real America's Voice with her announcement.
I mean, at some point you throw your head back and laugh because it's so ridiculous. There's two things we have to stop. We got to stop the machines. We have to stop the mail-in ballots. That is the way they are committing fraud. And frankly, we need to go back to Election Day. There's a bunch of other things we can do. I'm going to break a little more news for you, Ben, because you are such a great journalist. And I was going to break it tonight on the stage. But
shh, don't tell anybody. This is just for you guys.
Just for us. Our attorneys just filed a notice for appeal because of what we've discovered with the system log files, which show that they did secretive testing on 3 different dates, and we now have the video to back that up. And that was not available to us because Maricopa County, the people who committed the crime against the people, held that information from us. Now we have the information, and that changes everything. And so we are filing a notice to appeal, and you'll see more filings in the coming days. We are not stopping. I will never back down. That election was stolen from the people, and there will be no way that I back down from that. I just won't, because it's wrong what happened. And I want these people, Stephen Richer, Bill Gates, Jarrett, all of these people who are behind this election, to hear the steady drumbeat. I want it to haunt them and wake them up at night.
Oh boy. And so guess what? We do know that Bill Gates, who did a terrible job at this election, who suffered PTSD, he's not going to be running again. You're kidding me. Yeah, that was announced on Twitter. And Stephen Richer is going to mourn his loss as they continue to fundraise against America First candidates. So nice announcement from Kari Lake. Let's take a look at the actual notice that was filed. The filing comes from Brian James Blen Law Firm, along with Kurt Olson, 2 attorneys we've been following along on this case for some time. Here's what they submit. Out of the Arizona Superior Court, Maricopa County, this is the same level of the court that we've been in this entire time. They are notifying the court in the case of Kari Lake versus Katie Hobbs that Kari Lake files her notice of appeal. Here's what she says. Plaintiff Kari Lake hereby moves to provide her notice of appeal. And to be clear on this, the notice of appeal is very small and limited. It's going to have some exhibits and some other documents, but the memorandum that will come later should be a much more substantive appeal. It will contain more of the documents based on the investigation of the trial. So a notice of appeal is different than an appellate memorandum. The first is just to let you know, hey, we're coming harder with some other stuff, but that will come later. They say the special action is captioned as Kari Lake versus Katie Hobbs, and it's involving everybody else that we followed: Stephen Richer, Bill Gates, Clint Hickman, Jack Sellers, Thomas Galvin, Steve Gallardo, and the Maricopa County Board of Supervisors. We remember Scott Jarrett, the Director of Elections, and the Board of Supervisor defendants. They give us the case number that is being appealed. They say Kari Lake takes this appeal, and which portions of the appeal are they submitting. They say plaintiff appeals, meaning Kari Lake, appeals the final judgment entered on May 30th, denying all of Lake's requested relief and dismissing the case. Incorporated into the judgment from which Kari Lake appeals are the following. We want to appeal specific rulings. The one that came out on May 22nd, denying Kari Lake's request on count 3. She submitted a motion and the judge took it under advisement. And this was with respect to an outcome determinative number of ballots, appealing that ruling. They're also appealing a May 15th ruling. And we're going to take a look at these. They're attached as exhibits. Denying Kari Lake's 60B motion as to other counts. So counts 2, counts 4, count 6 about new evidence. And we read through that entire filing. Kari Lake said on appeal that new evidence had come to light. When the case came back down on appeal from the Arizona Supreme Court, it went back down to Superior Court. And what they were trying to do is bring back some additional counts. Most of the counts had already been ruled on and been dismissed. They appealed all of them. The Supreme Court said you can go back and start again on count 3, but they tried to reopen count 2, count 5, and count 6. The judge denied that attempt. They're appealing that denial. The basis of that attempt to bring those counts back in was that Maricopa County knew about new evidence. In this case, it was that nearly 2/3 of Maricopa County voters would reject significant numbers of ballots on Election Day due to the ballot on demand printers. They were misconfigured. They were defective. They were unreadable. They're appealing to Division 1, Arizona Court of Appeals. Transfer may be sought to the Arizona Supreme Court, and they want special action review by the upper level courts. There will be more that comes out. There will be an actual appellate memorandum that will have a lot more meat and potatoes to it, which of course we will cover. But there was another order that came out from the judge. This was about sanctions and whether Kari Lake and her team should get them. This was filed out of the Superior Court by the Honorable Peter Thompson here in Arizona. Here's what he says. Pending before this court is Maricopa County and their motion to sanction Kari Lake. Katie Hobbs joined, as did others. Adrian Fontes, they all wanted sanctions. The court has fully considered the memoranda submitted by the lawyers. They say that the defendants here, Maricopa, they seek attorney's fees as sanctions. They want other monetary sanctions against Kari Lake and her lawyers. They say the court has the inherent power to do this. Why? Because Kari Lake intentionally misrepresented facts, they say, by misstating or inappropriately grounding factual assertions on unsupported evidence. They say that Kari Lake knew she lacked factual merit and that she made groundless claims during oral arguments. But the judge says, well, the law says that the court may assess reasonable attorney's fees when they bring a case without substantial justification. What does that actually mean, without substantial justification? She says the Maricopa contends that Kari Lake unnecessarily expanded these proceedings by intentionally misstating the content of a witness testimony. But this view, says the judge, mistakenly looks beyond trial to the ultimate resolution of the merits and does not allow for the presentation of evidence to prove a disputed claim. These proceedings were Lake's opportunity to prove her claim, to pursue this, and she did. Now, her failure to establish a claim without clear and convincing evidence does not mean automatically that it's groundless. She has the right to bring her claim. She didn't prove her claim, but the fact she didn't prove it doesn't mean she automatically loses attorney's fees because it was brought without justifications. She says no. Even if her argument did not prevail, Lake, through her witnesses, presented facts consistent with and in support of her argument. And so the remainder of Hobbs and the Maricopa County, their allegations appear to rely on the court's inherent authority to award sanctions. The court acknowledges, yeah, I have inherent authority, that I can sanction bad faith attorney conduct, but there's a distinction between this. Opposing litigants in a heated dispute will naturally view the same evidence differently. The inference one draws will be anathema to the other, and they may question each other's good faith and their motivation. But the court does not find the, quote, misstatements in the briefing or the, quote, remarkably bold assertion in oral arguments to stray from advocacy into misconduct. The proceeding in which the statements were made was when you could argue your cases and present evidence. They made their arguments and the court ruled. Therefore, it is ordered denying Maricopa County's motion for sanctions. It is further ordered denying Kari Lake's motion to strike this as moot because it doesn't matter. Following remand and having weighed all of the evidence, the court now enters the following findings of facts as law as to count 3. The court does not find clear and convincing evidence of misconduct. The court does not find clear and convincing evidence of an officer committing misconduct in a canvass. And the court does not find that any misconduct occurred in 2022. And so they rule against Kari Lake in all claims, in favor of Katie Hobbs and the government in other claims. And it's further ordered, no further matters pending, no further matters remain pending. This order is final. So no sanctions for Kari Lake. Doesn't change the ultimate order that we've read through previously, but no sanctions coming out on top of the original order, which is good news for Kari Lake and her team. And the appeal will move forward. And of course, we will continue to cover that. And I hope you join us as we do. Thank you for subscribing and hitting that like button wherever it is you are watching this show. And we will look forward to seeing you on the next one.